All right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast. I'm your host, Freeway, and I'm here with my co-host, Kenny.
Echo.
And today we are going to be talking about revenge. And this is a topic that I think is really interesting because there are so many different forms of revenge, so many different stories in fiction that we've had with revenge, and I guess even some personal ones, probably from me, that we can discuss in this podcast episode. But before we get on the topic of revenge and how sweet it is, why don't I ask you how you're doing, Kenny? Because from what I understand, you recently moved into a new apartment, and from what I gather, moving is one of the top 3 most stressful things in a human experience. They say that weddings, funerals, and moving are literally the 3 most stressful things that a human can ever do. And I don't think moving is even number 3. I think it's like, it might be number 1, right? Because you can move way more times than, you attend a funeral or get married. Some people are like me. I attended a couple funerals and I'm done with that. Like I've been to like 2 funerals, and I told my parents, I was like, I think I'm just done attending family member funerals. Like I don't want to do that ever again. So I'm kind of just over that. But moving sometimes can just be an inevitable thing, depending on, your rent going up too much, or some kids move into the neighborhood and they fuck up the neighborhood and you're like, I have to get the hell out of here, or for whatever reason. So moving is just one of those things. But the more you live, the more things you accumulate. And that makes moving even worse. Like I have so much more shit than when I first moved into this apartment in 2014. I just have way too much shit now. And I can't even imagine what it would take to move. So before I stress myself out with the thought, how was your experience?
Well, first of all, I just want to say for everybody listening to this, if it sounds echoey or like shit or anything on my end, I apologize. There's literally nothing in this fucking room right now. There's just my desk, my computer, and like a table with a lamp on it. And that's it. So, forgive my audio for a bit. I'm going to try to get more shit in here. I got a couch coming, but I'm slightly scared it's not going to make it through the hallway to get in here. So I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Let it rock.
But how was moving for you? You moved that in the day or at night?
Well, I got the apartment like a couple of weeks ago, but just due to work schedules and stuff with my girlfriend, and we work on kind of opposite schedules, and we only have one shared day off, and then with like doing the podcast and then doing streaming and all the work stuff, and then there was just like other little family things I had to do. I had like all of this shit, and I just had no time to really move, and then I had to wait for the internet to get there. Like I can't move in with no internet.
Right. I refuse.
Yeah, it's not possible. And then also, like, it's not even just I refuse. It's also, like, logistically. Like, if I moved in right away, I would have not been able to record, like, 2 episodes of the podcast.
Right.
Because I just wouldn't have had internet. And so it would have just been like, oh, well, I can't record for a whole week. So
I always tell people, if you want to see who I really am, take away my internet, and I will become the monster that you all think I am, because that shit isn't for no one. There have been times where our internet has gone out, and I'm fine if I have my phone service still, but if I just have no internet, I will lose. Like I'll lose it. I can't.
The worst thing ever is, I remember there was one time. I mean, this has happened more than once, but it'll be like 2 a.m, right? You're just like on your computer doing random shit. Maybe it's like video games or just YouTube or watching Netflix, right? And then your internet goes out. And you're like, what the fuck? It's like you have nothing to do. The internet's out. It's 2 a.m. And so you're just kind of sitting there. Yeah. And you go, I don't know. I guess I'll just go look at porn. I can't. The internet's out.
Well, you have a fail-safe for all of that, because when we were younger, Kenny would have external hard drives that just everything was saved on it. I don't know if you still have that stuff, but
nah, I don't have like really. I lost a lot of that shit.
Yeah, like just a bunch of anime and like things.
I used to have a terabyte of anime. Which nowadays probably isn't as much, just because like file sizes have gotten so much bigger.
Yes.
I used to have a whole terabyte of anime, a whole terabyte of movies, but all those hard drives have like failed and shit. Like they don't work anymore.
That sucks. Damn.
But anyway, yeah, moving itself, when I finally did get to move all my stuff, well, first I had to come in here for a day in an empty apartment. I literally just brought a blanket and a pillow to sit on the floor for 5 hours because I'd wait for Verizon to come. So there was that. But then after that, when I finally moved, I didn't actually get to move everything until the nighttime, because like that's when I had shit available to me.
Yeah.
So I started moving shit at like 5 o'clock at night. And then
5 o'clock, like as in 5 p.m. or a.m.?
PM.
Okay.
It was like 5 o'clock at night, but I didn't really get everything going until like a little bit late. Anyway, I was moving shit till 1 a.m.
Oh my God.
Moving shit to, yeah, because just like, I don't know, you don't realize how much shit it is, I guess.
Yeah,
Because like,
that's true.
also, like I said, you guys can hear it, but this room is empty right now. I have a bunch of shit in the bedroom, but like, you're just moving shit, and you're like, what the fuck? Why is it so? And then you get it all there, and you set it up, and it doesn't feel like it was that much shit, and
Right. That is
it's
the
so
weirdest
weird.
part too. It's kind of like grocery shopping. You know how when you're in a grocery store, you feel like you bought a million things, and then when you unpack it at home, you're like, "This is all I got for $100." You're like, I got fucking scammed. You start checking the receipt to make sure everything is there. You're like, no, the Pop Tarts, yeah, like
Yep,
everything's
yep.
there.
I got
So
fucking scammed.
yeah, it just feels like you got scammed. So I know
So
exactly what you just described.
yeah, so I moved everything. I wasn't done till like 1 a.m. It was awful. And then I didn't even realize, I guess, when it was all happening, but I don't have a shower curtain. So literally for the first time in my entire life since I was like 5 years old, I took a bath. Just because my mom suggested just take a shower and then just like mop up the floor. And I was like, I am not doing that. I was like, I'll
Oh,
just
you don't have a shower curtain, and you also don't have a like a thing. You know how in my apartment I have like the sliding doors on the shower.
yeah, I don't have I just like
It's just open. It's just
it's just
open.
open.
Yeah.
And then so my mom was like, just take a shower and just mop the floor up. And I was
I'm
like,
just like,
no, I'm
no.
not doing. I was
That's
like, I'm
also a
not giving
bad
myself more work. Like, fuck
Not
that.
only that, but that's also a bad idea because having water just, come out on your floor like that is going to inevitably cause problems later on.
Yeah.
Like depending on how long you stay at that apartment, water damage is very real. And
Hmm.
in general, you just don't want water in places that it wasn't designed to be. And it was not designed to be on your floor. I promise you that water will find a small hole somewhere else and it will start leaking somewhere else. Probably not even in your apartment, but in someone else's apartment, which is fucked.
Yeah. It'll
And
be
things,
annoying as
yeah,
shit.
things will just go wrong. Like having water, I learned from firsthand experience, water just needs to be specifically in the places that it was
Same.
designed to go. Yes, yes.
Luckily, my firsthand experience wasn't, well, it's weird because it was like as bad, but not as bad at the same time. In Fraser's case, his fucking ceiling fell on him.
Yes,
But
like thank God I
and
wasn't in that spot when it happened. But the roof of the building I lived in, like the roof had a water problem, and it just started to crumble the fucking ceiling, and eventually a whole chunk of the ceiling actually came down and
yeah.
caused a whole. It was a whole mess, like a fucking absolute mess.
In my
So
case, that didn't happen, but it ruined the entire corner of my house from the top all the way through to the basement. And then, as you guys may or may not know, I ended up not being able to be in like my room for a full year because of like there was mold damage and water damage and everything that was
yeah, it's a
caused by
pain
this
in the
water
ass.
that we didn't know was trickling down. But anyway, yeah, I moved everything 1 a.m. I was tired. I had work the next day. And yeah, it was a big thing. I haven't even been here a full week yet, but it's cool.
Yeah, I moved at night. I I moved in the night as well, and it was actually pretty cool. I went to IKEA, so I got home from work the day I decided to move. Got home from work, and I asked my cousin if he wanted to drive the U-Haul truck for me. So we got the U-Haul truck. Then we went to IKEA, and I stayed at IKEA from about 6 p.m. to the time they close, which I think is either 9 or 10. I remember
Mm,
just being in the checkout line. Well, I remember still doing like grabbing things when they were saying, we're going to close. You need to be making your way to the checkout. And I was like, coincidentally, I happen to be done getting everything I'm going to get today. And I'll come back like, you'll never get everything in one shot. But
no.
I ended up buying a completely new bed frame, a dresser, like a bunch of stuff that you just need. I bought a bunch of that stuff. And it was convenient because how often are you going to have a U-Haul truck when you go to IKEA?
Yeah,
So
nah.
it was perfect. So we got the U-Haul truck, went to IKEA, I got a bunch of shit. Then I took it to the apartment. And at this point, it's like, 10 p.m. or whatever at night. And so my cousin and one of my friends helped me to move all the stuff into the apartment. I obviously didn't help me set anything up because IKEA, you have to build a lot of the shit and stuff. But they helped me to move a lot of the stuff from the U-Haul truck into the apartment, just like get it in the door. I
Hmm.
paid both of them and thanked them for, helping me out. And then I swear to God, and I've said this before, the sleep I got that night, because my mattress was just on the floor because I didn't have a bed frame and stuff yet. Like I had it, but I wasn't building it at midnight.
Hmm.
The sleep I got that night by just having my mattress on the floor and just having like a single blanket or whatever was the best sleep I ever got in my life to this day.
Mm.
Like moving
I'll
into my
say
own
this.
spot and getting that sleep was the best fucking sleep I ever got in my life. Sleeping in my own place that first night was insane. Go ahead.
I'll say this on that note. My mattress is also on the floor at the moment, and furniture is way too fucking expensive. So I'm probably gonna do a GoFundMe for some fucking furniture. So if anybody wants to donate to that GoFundMe, just you fucking let me know. Cause god damn is furniture just outrageously expensive.
Yeah, furniture is no
And
joke.
and after I looked at it, I was like, okay, this is my rent. This is. I was like, I can't afford to buy any of this shit. Like I'm looking at I was like, I can't afford. Like this is insane. Like
Yeah.
unless I get it off someone's front yard, like I can't afford any.
Well,
of
that's what a
this.
lot of people do. Like, I mean, even our friend Silverman, I remember when he moved into his house, he got his furniture from his family. Like they gave him the couches and stuff. And
Yeah,
eventually he bought new couches. But I'm talking about years later. Like
yeah, yeah.
he had the donated couches from his family for like 2 or 3 years.
I got some things, little things like family, like some family donated like plates and like silverware and shit
Right,
like
right.
that. And
And
like
I told you, you need to have a housewarming type of thing, or like some kind of event where people can buy you shit. Because all your friends, like we'll all get like, so you need a microwave, a toaster oven, maybe a blender, whatever it is, right?
yeah,
You make a list.
I do need a toaster oven, but I fucking moved in and everything's hooked up, electricity works, blah blah blah. And the microwave, the microwave just doesn't work. Like it's plugged. I don't understand. I've never seen a microwave just not work. Like I don't
Same.
understand. Like it's just plugged in and it just doesn't. That has electric. I don't know. It's weird,
Yeah.
but
Anyway.
it's all bullshit. But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, furniture's expensive. I'm getting, working. I'm gonna have like a little thing with a bunch of people over, but I just want at least a little entertainment stand with a TV and a couch.
Yes.
That way,
Yeah. You need
as long
some
as
stuff.
everybody
But
gonna stand around in a circle jerk.
if you remember when I first moved into this apartment with Medina, way back when, we had no furniture for a while as well. Because,
Mhm.
like you said, furniture is just ridiculous. Like you have to order it, and then it has, it's a whole thing. We had no furniture for a while, and we had a ton of people over. And this might be weird, but I liked when the living room and dining room was just like big open spaces because we have carpet.
Yeah.
So that like people can still, sit on the carpet and we just play video games. And that was a thing for a while actually. And then, eventually we're like, okay, let's be real people. Let's actually order furniture. And like we both work, we both have money.
I get that too. Like, obviously, I need shit in here, but at the same time, when I look at it, I'm like, I kind of like that there's just nothing here.
Yeah, it's just something about because it's imagination. You can at the time you're at right now, your apartment can look like anything. Whereas my apartment is overrun by all of the shit that I bought over the last 9 years, all the clothes, all of the furniture, all of the random little trinkets and things. And I'm basically a hoarder, so I just have a ton of shit. And it's to the point where I need to give shit away, throw shit in the trash. But it's so hard to let go of some things. I really need to get over that and just be like, okay, either stop buying new things or start giving away old things or selling old things or whatever you got to do, because this ain't it, Chief. This is not
Speaking of, it's so hard to let go of some things. Revenge.
Yes, revenge. So this all started because we were doing a podcast and we had a conversation about this anime called 91 Days. And 91 Days is, I don't think it's relatively new at all. At least the
It came out in 2016.
Okay, so it is pretty old now, right? Like it's 7 years ago. But the anime is essentially about this kid named Angelo whose family was murdered in front of him, basically in front of him. He was hiding at the time that it happened. But these thugs come into his house and he is very affluent, like very well off. You can tell the house they live in is huge. They're on acres of land. They're kind of out in the forest. And so they're not in some kind of row home where people would even know that there were intruders and maybe could have helped or anything. They're like in some secluded area, but their house is big as shit. And you can just tell they come from money. So he's a rich kid and he's playing with his little sister, and they like to hide and stuff, like typical kid stuff. So they're hiding in this little closet thing. And these five or six people come into their house and they're arguing with his dad. And then at some point his dad like slugs one of them and they get into a fight, but then you hear gunshots go off. And then the mom, she is like crying and bickering and saying, please don't, like, he let him go, whatever, like that. And as the mom is pleading, the daughter who's in the closet with the main character, Angelo, they're both hiding in this closet. The daughter runs out, okay? She runs out. Now, granted, this closet is in another room. They can see straight forward to the scene that's actually happening, though. So it's just trying to think of the setup as though I'm in the dining room. This is all happening in the living room. And in the dining room, there's a closet that I can see into the living room. So I can see everything that's happening, but we have the door kind of closed, so you can only see like a slit, right? But if you peek through it, you can see exactly what's happening. So the daughter pushes out of the closet. Thankfully, none of the people who are there notice where she came from, but she runs out, runs into the room, and the mom is like, oh no, like she picks up the daughter. She's like, please, yeah, my daughter's here. Like, please don't do this. And there's, still pleading. And then one of the mobsters heartlessly says, fucking do it, right? Like that type of vibe. And again, Angelo did not run out. So he is still in the closet. He even tried to grab his sister as she ran away, but she did that thing where she kind of juked him a little bit and she got away. And he knew, like, if I run out too, I'm self-preservation, I'm probably going to die. He's a little older than her at the time, so he has a little bit more sense. But he stays in the closet the entire time, covers his mouth, and the worst thing that could happens. This is an anime and it's very brutal, but the guy shoots through the daughter's back to the mom and kills her and the daughter basically at the same time. Like, they fire a couple shots, but like literally the mom is holding her daughter in her arms, the small child, and shoots through the girl to the it's fucked up. It's really, really fucked up. And so at some point while they're searching the house and stuff, mind you don't know why this happened. Like, at the time of the first episode when this happened, you have no idea why this happened. So then the little boy, Angelo, who's in the closet, he sees an opportunity where no one's guarding the front door, because the front doors are still swinging wide open and all the people are kind of moving throughout the house, whatever. So he runs out the house. Okay. And obviously, as he runs out the house, one of them notices, and they had, like, the guy who notices has on his face is covered. He has a mask on, or like some kind of bandana covering most of his face. And so the little kid, Angelo, the main character, he runs out the house and he's running, crying and screaming or whatever, but he's running. And the guy runs out the house and he starts shooting at him, but he misses. He doesn't hit him. And so Angelo gets away. And he runs to his best friend's house, and they showed the best friend a little while ago. He was actually over playing with them, and then he goes home. He rides home on his bike. So Angelo runs from his own house to his best friend's house, and when he gets there, he's a wreck, obviously, as you can imagine. He's crying, snot-nosed, everything, and his best friend is just like, you can stay here as long as you need. And it's a very traumatic thing. He just kind of goes to sleep on his best friend's lap that night, and then it does a time skip 7 years later, and you see Angelo kind of all grown up. So he was a teenager. I would say that he's probably like 20, maybe like 19, 20, something like that. Still very
that's
young.
my guess. My guess is like he's somewhere between the ages of 17 and 22.
Yeah. Like, I have no idea exactly how old he is, but he's not very old. He's not young anymore. He's an adult now. He's very clearly, in my opinion, I think he's an adult. So they do a time skip. They show how he's living. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. So he is living what I would consider to be like pretty destitute. His living space is really gross. It's like, it's a studio apartment, but it's trash everywhere. There's bottles, like alcohol and stuff, on like just on the fucking floor of his apartment. There's stains all over his bed and stuff like that. Like, it just looks like really, really gross. And these two women are like, hey, you got a letter that came in for you. So they pass him a letter, and the name of that the letter is addressed to is not Angelo. It's was it Avilio or something like that? Is his new name? He takes on a new name.
No, so at this point, yeah, his name is Avilio Bruno, and the ladies are calling him Avilio, and then the lady says, like, a letter came addressed to your apartment, but it says Angelo.
Right.
So yeah, it has like his original name on the letter, even though at this point in time in his life where he lives, everybody that happens to know him knows him as Avilio Bruno.
Yes. So he has changed his name. So it's been a 7-year time skip. He's changed his name, and he got a letter addressed to his old name. Now, most people would not know who he was before. So the letter is actually a big point of interest at this point in the story. And he opens it, and I think that the contents of the letter, they don't completely reveal it to you at the time, but like, basically the premise is that somebody who was a friend of his father's and a friend of his family wrote the letter to tell him who did the murders, like who was responsible for killing his whole family that night. And he takes this moment to exact revenge by joining a crime family, befriending them, getting in go with them, proving himself to them, and then killing them one by one. And that's essentially the premise of the anime. So a couple things happen here that are really cool that I like. So he befriends there's a bunch of different Italian crime families here in this story. There's like the Galasias, or however you say it.
Yeah, their name's hard to say.
The Orcas, right? The Venettis. He befriends the Venettis. That's the first family that he ends up with. But he kind of like gets in go with all of them to a degree. And he's kind of known as like a killer for them, and a run, somebody who's a runner. Like, you'll do dirty work for these mob bosses. So he gets in good with them. They don't know anything about him. They don't know his old life. They don't know who he really is. And his whole goal is just revenge. He wants to literally kill them. And I really like that idea of the long con, like the long revenge, where you're willing to set it all up so that way you can get your revenge the way you want to, as opposed to rushing in to like, oh, there's a mob meeting happening. You rush in, you shoot at a couple people. You might kill one or two, but then you're just going to get killed. And it like, what was the reason for that? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of went out like an idiot. So he's pretty smart, I would say. Like, I'm not saying he's L or Light or, Lelouch v Britannia, but
he's not them, but he's definitely like more humanly smart. Like, they're like inhumanly smart.
I agree.
He's like very poised and calculated, and he's smart in like a more down to earth human way.
Yes. And to give some more context to the story, this is taking place during the era of Prohibition. So alcohol is banned. And the reason why these Italian families, these mob families, are all fighting and they all have territories is because they're all making moonshine. And they're all selling it on their own territories. And like, there's wars between them where, I want your territory, I want this area, so I'll kill some of the people in your family. And then it's a choice between, does the head of the family, the mob boss, does he want to retaliate? But then they could be friends. So like, the mob bosses are friends, but then stuff will happen where it's like, well, my son killed 3 of your guys, and I know you want revenge for what he did, but then like, I can't let you kill my son. So it's like awkward stuff going on like that, right? And it's a really, really good story. But essentially the main character, him and his best friend, they end up getting into making moonshine because the same best friend that he ran to the night his family got killed, the same guy he ran to, he's obviously older now too, but he knows how to make moonshine, and it's on some Breaking Bad shit. His moonshine is like the best that anyone's ever had. It is liquid gold, essentially, is what he knows how to make. So everybody who tastes it, everybody who gets a whiff of it, they're all talking about how amazing it is, and if they can start selling that, they'll take over the whole city. Let's say Chicago, which is where, a lot of the Prohibition stuff tends to happen, or most stories centered around Prohibition tend to happen in Chicago. It would be like the best moonshine in Chicago is what this kid knows how to make. And they don't really explain why he's so good at it, but the kid is clearly smart. Like, his friend is very, very smart. And Avilio/Angelo, he gets his friend involved in this whole thing. Because at first his friend is like not into it.
Yeah, they show like before Avilio/Angelo meets up with his friend again, whose name is Corteo. They show him and he like makes this liquor, and then one of his friends that he just met over the 7 years is like in with one of the mafias and trying to get him to join. And he's like, no, I hate the mob. Like, I would never join them. And he was like, dude, you could be so rich. Like, you can make so much money. All you got to do is give them this alcohol. And he's like staunchly against it. But then his old friend Avilio/Angelo comes back into his life, and then kind of ends up getting him involved with this crime family that he never really wanted to be involved with, but due to sort of his debt and considering himself his brother, like his best friend/brother, he kind of just like follow him.
He basically weaponized his friendship against him is what happens.
Yeah.
And that, that's the thing. Like, we've all done stuff because our friend wants us to do it. Like, oh, just come with me, or like, just do this. I promise it won't be that bad. And then you end up doing it and you regret it, right? For me, it's always when I go out to a club. Every time I go out to a club, there have been times in the past where I've gone out to a club and I've had a great time, right? I've had an absolutely fantastic time. But there's also been many times where I've gone out and the second I get there, or like an hour into being there, I just wish I was home instead.
You're just like, why am I here?
Yeah, why am I here? But your friend who's having the time of their life, mind you, the one who dragged you out, they love it. Like, they're into it. They're completely happy with the situation. And you're just standing there or sitting there like, all right, I would just rather be home watching anime, playing video games, beating off, doing anything else. Like, literally anything else besides being here right now. And there's a lot of music and stuff. I think that girl, Alessia Cara, she had that song like I'd rather not be here or whatever, something about parties and how she hates. It was a really popular song. I think it actually won the Grammy the year it came out for Song of the Year or Best New Artist or something like that. But Alessia Cara, you guys know the song I'm talking about, but the whole song's premise is I would rather just not be here right now. And she's at a party, I think in the video, in the corner, and everybody is just kind of having the time of their life, and she just hates every part of it. Every interaction where somebody walks past, tries to talk to her, everything. So that's kind of how I like to think of this. But yeah, his friend, who's really good at making moonshine in the Prohibition era, gets roped into working with these mob families, and they all want him too. They all want his product. They all want to see how he makes it. He's smart to tell them, I'm never going to show you how I make it, because obviously if I show you how I make it, you have no more need for me, and I'll
kill me, cut me out.
Yes. So he's like, I'm never ever showing you how to make it. That's just never happening. So he kind of has a little self-preservation there, which is really smart. But Paul's whole thing, in every scene, Paul just looks so angry. He doesn't speak much. He's kind of like a Sasuke character. So naturally I like him, but he doesn't talk much. And when he talks, it's always with the idea of manipulation in mind. Everything he says is kind of like a means to an end to get his revenge. So he just wants to prove himself. So he's willing to do some
You
crazy
call him
shit
Paul?
by accident. Yeah, I called him Paul. I was thinking Paul Lavilio for some reason.
I was like, you were talking, and I was like, I'm gonna let this play out because I don't know what he's saying right now. I was just like, wait a second, I gotta clarify.
I don't know why in my head his name is Paul Lavilio. I don't know why. It is just not. So forgive me for calling him Paul. But anyway, yeah, Avilio, every time you see the main character, he's always just like super sullen looking and he doesn't speak much. And again, when he says things, it's all just like trying to manipulate a situation in his favor, trying to get people to go into a certain place so that he can like do something dirty. And he's smart in the sense that he knows how to set people up to look like they killed someone, right? So he'll kill someone and then he'll ask the person to come to a place where there's a dead body, right? Like this is a very simple example, but I'll kill someone, leave that place and say, hey, meet me here. And then you come there and there's a dead body there. And then people walk in on you and near that dead body. They're obviously going to think that you did it, of course. So he's good at that type of thing. And his goal is essentially to cause all of the crime families, all the mob families to fight and kill each other. And it happens. Like he actually accomplishes that goal. But there's what the problem is in this whole thing, you know how revenge, it comes at a cost. So in order to prove himself that he's not some scumbag guy, because they don't trust him naturally. They don't know where he comes from. They don't know why he wants to help and why he wants to be the guy that goes out and kills people and does all these dirty things. They're like, what are you really trying to get at? So they're naturally skeptical of him. And really late into the anime, so spoiler alert for this, but there's a point where they don't know who killed someone else. And the only way that the main character, Angelo, can prove that, you know, he's actually still down with the family and that he's loyal to the family is that he kills his best friend. And it like, I kind of knew that that's where this was going because his best friend is the most innocent person ever, right? Like he didn't want to do this to begin with. He never wanted to be involved with this at all. And he has never killed anyone, right? Like there's a point where he's forced to off one of the characters who's a really fucked up guy. Like it's just one psycho dude. He's just like a menace. He's a menace for 10 episodes straight. Yes.
He's wild as fuck. There's something fucking wrong with him.
Yes, there's one guy who ends up cooking a mob boss into lasagna and feeds it to like his whole family. He's just a menace. And the one
real quick, how long did it take you to realize that he cooked that man into the lasagna?
It was instant. And the reason why it was instant because he killed him, or like you know he killed him, and then the next scene is him serving food at the guy's restaurant. Right. So it's like they didn't intend for you to have to wonder what's happened. He was also way too excited to serve up lasagna. And I always think about in anything, red sauce has the chance to just not be red sauce. You know what I mean? Like in any Italian movie or any Italian fiction that you've ever seen, whenever there's a chance to serve someone pasta or lasagna or pizza or anything, right? There's an opportunity for some gruesome shit to happen because it's red. Like the sauce is naturally red. So either the person is going to be cooked into it or their blood is going to be in it or something wild. So when he's serving a lasagna of this one mob, the orca's mob boss. And the guy's fat. Earlier in the show, there was a part where the fat orca boss, he's eating at his restaurant and the guy brings him out lasagna that he says has no butter in it. So at first it was too much butter. The second time, the guy apparently didn't put any butter in it. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just feed you to the pigs. And he gets the chef cooked. Like the chef gets cooked up and fed to the pigs apparently. So that's kind of a foreshadowing of what ends up happening to him later on in the story, where he actually gets cooked up and fed to his entire, like, you know, his subordinates. They end up eating him. And as they're eating him, they don't know at the time that they're eating him, but one of them bites into a tooth and he pulls the tooth out of
imagine.
Yeah, that's so fucking disgusting. And the tooth is like whole too. When he pulls it out of I think he's chewing on it and he pulls it out of his mouth and it's just a whole tooth. Like it is an entire tooth, which means that they actually pulled the guy's teeth out first. For sure. And then they grinded him up or whatever they did to cook him down into a lasagna. But it is brutal. It's gruesome. And yeah, so anyways, the main character's best friend, Corteo, is that his name?
Yeah.
He ends up telling the main character, listen, they're going to know what you've done and your cover is going to be blown if you do not kill me for the sake of loyalty. Like, you have to kill me. You know what you must do. So they give him the gun. They all leave the room. They say, you do it. You kill him. And so they get to have this conversation, what I thought was really convenient, honestly, that they all left. They didn't watch him shoot the guy or shoot his friend. But all of the mob dudes walk out and they're like, you kill him to prove that, you know, you're really down for what we're doing here. And so they get to have this one last conversation, like, where essentially the main character says, why did you come back? Because you were out of it. He actually fully escaped and was going to live a life completely separate from this whole situation, but ended up coming back. And when he comes back, it gets him in a situation where he has to give his life up. So he tells him, listen, I've made peace with this. You know, this is what you have to do. Get your revenge. This is what you want it. And it comes at the cost of my life. And so, yeah, he kills him. And I was like, damn, I don't know if I could do that. Like, if my best friend needed me to kill him. Yeah.
I felt so bad for Corteo, just because like you said, I mean, on one end, you know, he's a bootlegger, like he's making a leap, but at the end of the day, like he really is like one of the like most innocent characters in this series. Like he just didn't want to be in any of this. He got dragged in, and it's, you know, the story overall is like a revenge story, right? But Corteo's character is almost a lesson in like letting go of toxic people in your life, because essentially,
right,
Corteo's loyalty to like his best friend slash brother is what led to him just dying at a very young age. Like he died like as a 20-year-old or whatever. And if he just didn't let his friend drag him into all of this mess, you know, he could have lived his life.
Yeah, I agree. It does suck seeing that. Yeah, it does really suck seeing that your downfall ended up being your loyalty and your friendship to someone else, you know? Like, that is never, we all have friends, everyone has friends, and none of us want our friends to suffer because of a decision that we made. But I think that the main character loses sight of everything, honestly, for his revenge. He doesn't really care about anything.
There's a part in there's a part like a little bit earlier where Corteo tells him like, let's just leave, like we can just leave, we can like take this boat and we can be gone.
Yeah.
Like, is your revenge worth your life? And Avilio says like, you have it backwards, like my revenge is my meaning for living. And
it's all he's thought about for 7 years. Since that incident happened, he has honed in on getting revenge on these people. And up to this point where he is about to kill his best friend, he's actually been very successful in killing several of the mobsters, even the mob boss. Like, he's gotten a lot of them killed. He's succeeded in causing turf wars and causing all kinds of havoc throughout these three mob families that are all together, the 3 or 4 mob families. He's definitely accomplished his goal for the most part. Like, he's gotten a lot of them actually offed. And as he finds out who was there that night, he'll like find out that the person was there, and then he'll kill them in some secluded area or whatever. It's really cool the way he does it, but at the end of the day, to get the person that he truly wants, it ended up costing him his best friend. Now, a big part of the story is also him befriending the Venetti's boss's son. So the guy's name is Nero. And throughout the whole story, these two are like Batman and Robin type vibes. They're always together. They do everything together. And Nero has no idea that, you know, Angelo was the kid that he shot at when he was younger. It was actually his first mission. So Nero was there the night that Angelo's family got killed, and he's the guy who shot at him, when he ran out the house. He's the guy who shot at him. You don't find this out until very, very late, but he even says, my first job, like Nero tells him about his first job, and he says, my first job was shitty work. Like, we really didn't do a good job of murdering this one family, but he describes it, and Angelo obviously knows when he's describing it exactly what he's talking about. Like, he describes the night that his family got killed. So imagine somebody...
And this is also when, because in the letter that Angelo gets, the letter says there was like 3 people. And so when he hears Nero retelling the story of his first job, and Nero describes that there was 4 people that went into the house, that's when Angelo realizes like, oh, wait a minute, like the letter wasn't being all the way truthful. Like, there is another person. And that's when he kind of puts together the person that sent the letter is probably the 4th guy.
Yeah.
But now he has to figure out who that is.
Yep. So a big part of the story is like figuring out exactly who all is involved, figuring out who wrote the letter, but also exacting your revenge on mainly the Venetti's family. And the Venetti mob boss is already sick. He's already dying. So him getting actually murdered is not the craziest thing. But then there's this other dude, the Galatius boss. And he apparently he's like the boss of the all the families. He is the big boss basically over all the other families in the Italian mob. And the idea is to get him to show up because he doesn't you really can't get close to him. You really won't get an opportunity to harm him. So they have to set up something. Angelo basically sets up something where he does get that guy exposed and he gets the opportunity to kill that guy like an opera, right? Like it's really hard to get to him. As you can imagine, he's as high as you can go. And all of our families are always worried about what the Glacius dude is going to do and like how he's going to respond. We can't do this because the Glacius will come down on us. So you hear about him throughout the whole story, but you don't see him until like pretty much the very end. And when you see him, he goes to an opera and Angelo finds a way to kill him. I said kill him and kill the Venetti father. And that's when Nero figures out like, oh, you're the one who's been doing a lot of this shit. Because Nero's not dumb. He knows that something has been going on shady within the families, and like there's clearly a rat. They don't know who it is, and every time they think they know who it is, that person ends up getting killed. And it's like, well, fuck, this stuff is still happening after that guy died. I'm thinking that was the rat, and they never find out that it's really Angelo. So it's really cool that the main character of the entire story is traveling with this dude who literally was in on the murder of his whole family, and he keeps himself composed. He has plenty of times where he could have killed him. And I think that Nero ends up saying that later on. He says, there was a point where you could have killed me, and it wouldn't have hurt your overall revenge because you didn't need me anymore. Why didn't you? And this is when you realize that Angelo has a soft spot for Nero.
Yeah.
Because killing Nero would be part of the revenge. He was there that night. He actually tried to technically kill you because he shot at you, but he missed. And he was also very young too, because I would say that Nero's still older than Angelo, but not by much.
Same.
But he did shoot at him and I guess in a way tried to kill him that night. And he just didn't succeed. So he's like, listen, you could have killed me at this point, because they slept, they've gone to sleep together outside in the woods and they've been in all types of situations where his back was turned to him. He trusts him. So he's like, yeah, you could have killed me. Why didn't you? And then Angelo doesn't have a real answer for him. And this is where you as a viewer kind of realize, okay, you actually kind of like this guy, right? Like
so this is probably like one of my favorite things about this show overall is like at one point there's a part where Nero has to like flee the city for a little bit, and they're like Nero's brother ends up putting a plot against him, and like there's all this shit that happens, and so Nero flees the city for a little bit and he goes with Angelo at this, as he knows him as Avilio, and they spend all this time together, and there's a bit of tension because it's such a mundane experience. They're kind of just like out on the road and doing shit, and the whole time though you're like, he wants to kill him.
Yes.
Like he wants to kill him, and they're just like sleeping together and doing all this random shit and like going into like car tents and just random mundane stuff.
Yeah.
And they spend all this time together, and then by the end of the series, various things happen. But it's kind of similar to like what you would get in like a movie or a show where like an undercover cop joins a crime family, right? And but like that undercover cop ends up like legitimately becoming friends with some of the people.
Right. On the outside, looking in, you're like, oh, these people are terrible. They all need to be imprisoned or killed. And then you actually go in as a mole. You befriend some of them because you have to, right? You have to seem like you're part of what they're doing, the crime syndicate. But then you start to get a soft spot because you realize that the reason why they're doing something is, I have to live up to my dad's expectations, which is exactly what Nero lives up to his father's expectations a lot. He's always trying to prove himself to his dad. And I'm not saying it's right, but the pressure to take over the family when I die is the dad, that's the dad's whole thing. He's instilling into his son is when I die, you have to take over. So, that first time he goes out and they murder Angelo's family was him taking him on a mission. Like, this is what you're going to have to do stuff like this. You're going to have to be in charge. So I need you to see it up front. And it might not be what your son actually wants. Maybe your son wanted to fucking play baseball or something. Like, maybe he didn't want to run a mob family, but it's imposed on him from a very young age. And of course you go along with it because what choice do you really have?
Yeah, it's your dad, right?
But somebody who's the mole coming in, you might think, oh, you're just a terrible person. But it's like, no, my father forced this life on me. And I was going to say, like, you get to know him, and then, like, Nero, because that's the thing, that's the dichotomy a lot of these kind of stories, is, like, they're part of the mafia. Like, they're bad people. Like, Nero kills, there's a part in the one of the episodes where basically there's this new head of the FBI, and he's, like, vowing he's going to take out the mob. Like, it's done. Yes.
He can't
Commissioner
be bribed,
Gordon.
nothing. Yeah, like nothing can happen, right? And so they threaten his life, they threaten his family's life. There's one point where Avilio goes to him and says, like, your daughter's 4 now, right? And then he leaves. And And so they, threaten this guy and he doesn't take any of it. But then there's a part where his family is going to get into a car to like go somewhere safe. And then he's still in the house and the car blows up. And so he runs out terrified. He thinks his family's dead. But then Nero or Avilio, whoever set it up, actually designed it in a way where his family wasn't in the car, but they kind of showed him once and for all, like, look, I can kill your family at any time. And then it finally gets the FBI. FBI got it back off. But the point is, Nero and other people like him, they aren't good people in that they are part of the mafia. They kill people, whatever. But when you get to know him as a person, like, he is really fucking likable. Like, there's a part where they're out on the road and he's like hanging out with the kids and he gets excited when the kid breaks the piñata. And like, then he does like juggling tricks for the kids. And like, you're like, he's just a normal guy. His job just happens to be killing people and selling bootleg liquor.
Yeah. And so Angelo clearly has a soft spot for him. And when it comes time for him to actually get revenge on Nero, he can't bring himself to do it. The story essentially concludes with Nero finding out that Angelo is the one behind all of the shit that's been happening in the last couple months. He's the one who's been getting people killed. He's the one who's been setting up these mob families to fight each other. He literally killed his father. He finds out everything. And there's a point where they're driving to end up on the beach. And Avilio Angelo, he starts walking away from Nero. And Nero, and this is a mirror of the episode 1 where he gets shot at. You see Nero pull out his gun while Avilio's walking away. And he fires a shot, and it kind of just ends there, where you don't know what happened. You just see Nero driving off from that scene, but you don't actually see Angelo / Avilio. You don't see him dead. You don't see him fall to the ground or anything. You just know that he got Nero fired in his general direction, the same exact way he did when he ran out the house in episode 1 as a child. It's a mirror of that scene, and you don't know. I feel like, so this is something that we could talk about too, but I feel like he did not kill him. Personally,
I think this ending is something I've thought about a lot since watching this back in 2016. It's just something that I've really, really, really enjoyed and liked thinking about, because there's the thought process of whether or not he killed him. Because there's a lot of reasons to kill him. Like, this guy's responsible for essentially killing his, Nero's whole family. But then on the other end, we get to know Nero, and he is kind of compassionate, and Nero understands that I killed this guy's whole family. And also, they've spent a lot of time together. They befriended each other. There's the part where Nero's driving away from the beach, and he looks, and there's the can of canned pineapples on the seat. Mm-hmm. They were eating that when they were on the road together, and he kind of smiles. And there's another just cool little touch, because they were walking on the beach. And then there's they show you the footprints, but they show that the waves are washing the footprints away. So you can't even use the footprints in the sand to tell whether or not he killed them, because the footprints, if Avilio or Angelo was dead, the footprints would have ended. But if he was alive, the footprints would have kept going. But you see the waves washing the sand away, so you can't tell where the footprints are going anyway. So it's just, all that stuff is really cool. But
yeah, I like this cliffhanger.
Yeah, I also kind of believe that he didn't kill him, and for a couple reasons. There's a part where there's the whole ending montage where they're traveling together and essentially traveling to kill him, and but then they have another just montage together. There's a part, and it's long. There's a part where they're changing a tire. They're eating at different diners. It's turning day to night. They're sleeping out on the grass and shit. And then you get to the end, and then there's a part somewhere in there where Avilio tells him that he doesn't really have any reason to live anymore. His reason to live was his revenge against his family. Right. But then there's a part at the end where they're on the beach, where they finally get to the beach, and Nero says hey, you don't need a reason to live, you just live. Which I think in general is a really good piece of advice, or little wisdom or whatever. That's just what life is. You don't need a reason for it. We just do it, and we just live, and you just make the most of it.
Yeah, I do like that too, that he said that to him. I thought about that. I was yeah, I know a lot of people in current times go through all kinds of mental health issues and stuff like that. And my heart goes out to those people, because these are tough times to live in, with the price of everything just going up as being just one thing that is already wrong with the world. But there's so many other things too that are just hard to live with. And saying that, just take it one day at a time and just live for living's sake. I like that message. It's just you just live, you just try to find enjoyment in something, right? I know that your life sucks, because having your family murdered, I obviously can't relate. And
Yeah, and I think most of us can't, right?
yes, I think 99.9% of people can't relate, thankfully. But I understand somebody not wanting to live in that situation. But I also like that if you live long enough, you start to find new reasons to live, even if it is revenge, because that's what keeps him going. That's what keeps the main character Angelo slash Avelio. That's what keeps him going this entire story, is that, you know, he wants to get revenge for what happened to him, or what happened to his family. I mean, I think that ultimately oh, speaking of which, like, because we're going to relate this to other things, but Attack on Titan is essentially the same type of story.
Yeah,
The main character, Eren, his family was murdered. Like his mom was eaten in front of him. And come to find out, there are like other human beings who were responsible for doing that. So it's so interesting when you think about it from that perspective, that in this story, you have a very young person who, as a kid, his family was murdered. And then the same thing with Eren Yeager, as a very young person who has his family murdered. And they kind of don't really want to go on except for revenge. Like that is what keeps them going. That is their sole reason for existing. And Attack on Titan is one of my favorite anime of all time. And might end up being my number one depending on how it ends. But now that we kind of concluded on the 91 days section, I do have a couple other
real quick.
ones
I wanted to say on another note on, because the one thing that is cool is, like, you know, looking at the end, you really can talk back and forth about whether or not he killed Angelo at the end. Another reason why I do think he didn't kill him is there's a part where they're camping and he's talking about how he just killed the Venettis and everything, and he's basically like still sullen about it, and he's like it was all for nothing. Like, I don't feel any better.
Right.
Like he achieved his revenge and everything. I don't feel better. Like, it was nothing. Like, my life is for nothing, right? And that's where, like, at the end, you know, you don't need a reason to live, you just live comes in. But I think that's another reason why Nero didn't kill Angelo, is because, like, I think it kind of represents, like, the breaking of the cycle. Like, at this point, like, even if he did kill him, like, it wouldn't make his family come back. It wouldn't make him feel any better. It's just like this weird thing. And I think part of the growth of the show and, like, growth of Nero as a character is, like, taking that, understanding that, and then like trying to let that cycle end there, and like be like, you know what, you go your way, I'll go my way. And then they kind of have like this weird fun. It's like weird because they killed each other's family.
Yes.
They became almost best friends and have like fun.
That is
memories.
a wild concept, by the way.
Yes, like.
But you know what's interesting is that the same thing ends up happening, but in a complete opposite way in Attack on Titan. So the main character of Attack on Titan, he obviously wants revenge for what happened to his family, right? So he vows to join the Survey Corps, train up so he can start killing Titans and get revenge, you know, however he can. Coincidentally, some of his friends are responsible. The people who he like grew up in the Survey Corps with, they're responsible. Reiner, Berthold, Annie, they're responsible for his family being killed, right? So he's
like directly responsible.
Yes, directly responsible. So it's like 91 days, but just from a different perspective, where the main character is the one who doesn't know. He's Nero in this case, right? Like, he's best friends with Berthold and Reiner, and he has no idea that these fuckers are the ones who killed that your mom is dead because of them. And then, you know, eventually he finds out, and there are moments where I think that Eren for sure could have killed Reiner, specifically Reiner. I think that he could have 100% killed Reiner by now, especially like in final season part 1, right, when they're talking in that basement or whatever. There are parts where he could have killed Reiner, and he still hasn't. There was even a part where, Reiner, he like incapacitated him and stuff, and I do wonder why Eren has just chosen not to. I don't want to go as far as to say is that he is a soft spot for Reiner. I don't think that's the case. I think that Eren wants Reiner to see the world burn, and that's kind of his goal overall, is that I want you to be here to see when it all ends, and you're not really that much of a threat to me. It's how I think he looks at him. It's like, you don't even pose a real threat to me, because my plan is so far past anything that you could even do. We're just the Armor Titan. Eren knowing that he is the Founding Titan and the Attack Titan. So it's really interesting, but I do like that these two stories are essentially the same thing, where it's a story about revenge. It's a story about families being killed, and it's stories about befriending the exact people who were responsible for why you are the way you are to begin with.
It is pretty fucking crazy when you think about it like that.
Yes.
Because, like, obviously, in your head, but I know, you know, that obviously 91 Days is a revenge story, and Attack on Titan is obviously also a revenge story, but it's not as in your face.
It's not as in your face. You're right, because they're also trying to save humanity, right? Like,
yeah, so there's like other missions and shit, but it is also a revenge story. But then they do have other parallels as well, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, it's kind of dope when you think about it. I am obviously Team Eren. I talk about it all the time, and Eren currently wants genocide against everyone who is not a servant of Ymir, a descendant of Ymir. So anyone who doesn't have the ability to turn into a Titan is kind of his end goal. And I get that because he finds out later in the story that the reason why, you know, his people are being persecuted is because they're different, essentially. Like they're different, and their ancestors have done some things that are terrible, right? Like Aaron himself, even though he is a descendant of Ymir and everything, he personally hasn't done anything, but his ancestors have, like, what they said, they wiped out entire civilizations. Like there are groups of people who do not exist anymore because the Titans existed and they've wiped out people.
It's very sins of your father type of deal.
Sins of your father. Yep.
Like they haven't done anything, but like however many years ago, their ancestors did horrible, horrible shit. Something that I just thought about real quick on 91 Days, I wanted to ask you your opinion on. Something I think is interesting about the writing of the show is, other than the fact that they show you that as a child his family gets murdered in front of him, really do much to endear you to the main character after that. Like they don't really do much. Like I feel like they spend more time trying to endear you to Nero and make you as a viewer like Nero more than the main character. And I find that really interesting because as the show goes on, like at least for me, it's like on one end, when you watch a show, you watch it. Usually I feel like the goal is for you to cheer for the main character, but then you're watching this and as it goes on, you're like, I don't want him to kill Nero though, but like he has to.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. I'm trying to think about how I feel about that in terms of Attack on Titan, because there was a part where I definitely wanted Annie to die. And now that where the story is right now, I am fine with her living. Because I have a better understanding. You know, the Attack on Titan is very mysterious, and the way the storyline unfolded, like a lot of it is just...
Yeah, it's much longer.
It's much longer. It's much more drawn out, and all of these different things, all these plot twists happen and stuff, right? So it's a little bit like in the beginning they frame it a certain way, but then you find out that the way you thought the story worked does not work like that at all, and it's a completely different story. So it's a little bit more complicated, but the ideas are all still there, like revenge, family is murdered, befriending the people who actually were responsible for doing that, and then when you get the opportunity, will you actually exact your revenge against somebody who you kind of started to like? And in Aaron's case, he doesn't give a fuck. Like Aaron in Avilio's shoes is like, I'm going to keep going, and there's nothing you could do to stop me, or you have to stop me. I'm putting you on better habit. That's kind of how Aaron Yeager carries it. Whereas Nero and Avilio's relationship is more so like, well, we both understand that we fucked each other up real bad, right? Like you helped kill my family, I helped kill your family, and now we have to make the decision. Do we kill each other? Do I kill you? Do you kill me? And I would say that neither one of them are able to make that decision by the end of it. So, I mean, it's still left up in the air because he does fire a shot and they don't show what happens, but I don't think he killed him. I think that the reason why episode 1 showed him shooting at him and missing is for the reason that the same thing.
I think it creates like a nice circular, like bookend type of deal.
Yeah. Okay, so there are other revenge stories that I really like, and I wanted to bring them up in this episode as well. So I mentioned Kill Bill, and this is one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. I know that it's kind of, I wouldn't even say this, I think that now the longer things go, like the longer time passes, more and more people are starting to appreciate like older movies, because Kill Bill's pretty old now. It's almost like 20 years old, if not actually 20 years old. It's pretty old. But it is a fantastic movie. And the premise of it is the main character, Beatrix Kiddo, she is an assassin, and her husband is the boss of all of the assassins, right? So there are a bunch of women who are under him, and they're all named after different kinds of snakes. And then there's also his brother, whose name is I think Buck. No, not Buck. I forget his brother's name. But Bill is literally the boss, and he's also married to the main character. What ends up happening is, while on an assassination mission, and she is considered the best assassin of all of them. She's a Black Mamba, which is like the craziest snake apparently.
Kobe Bryant.
Yep, Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant, the best snake, very highly poisonous snake. If it bites you, it inflicts so much venom into you that if you don't get medical attention within like less than an hour, you will die and all this stuff. They read out the facts in the second movie. But basically, so she's an assassin, the main character, and she's out on the mission, an assassination mission. And as she's out on it, she comes across another assassin. And there's this cool ass scene. Now, I don't think you see this until the second movie, because the first movie is her just exacting her revenge. But the second movie is actually a prequel to everything that happens in the first one. And then it kind of ends with, you know, her getting to Bill finally.
I actually don't think I've ever seen the second one, but you can talk about it. I don't care. I've only seen the first one.
So you don't really understand completely why she's doing what she's doing in the first one. Like, you know that her husband tried tried to kill her, basically. But you don't get to see the scene where it happens until the second movie. The second movie's opening is insane. It's literally the reason why all this is happening. But
is that the one? Wait, is that the one? Which one is the one where the movie kind of starts with her digging herself out of the grave? I think
that is.
Doesn't that happen?
That does happen. That's the first one.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I saw the first one.
I think that's the first one. In the second one, it opens with her wedding, but we'll talk about that in a second. So she's on an assassination mission. She comes across another assassin, and they're trying to kill each other, and they're shooting back and forth, and it gets to a point where the way they preface this scene, I think, now I haven't seen Kill Bill in a while. I do watch it like every 2 years, but I forget. I'm going to add something to this, and I hope that I'm right. There's a part where you see her like peeing in her hotel bathroom. You see the main character peeing in her hotel bathroom, and she gets into this fight with this other assassin chick. The other girl has a shotgun, okay? And the main character has just like a pistol, some kind of a Glock, a 9, some kind of regular pistol. They get to a point where they're both really close to each other, and they both have to drop on each other. They both have their guns pointed at the other one's head. So one of them is going to die, and it's like, who shoots first or whatever. So it's a standoff. And Beatrice is pleading with this woman. She says, listen, I just took a pregnancy test. Okay, so that's why they showed her peeing earlier. She's like, I just took a pregnancy test. And she's crying, mind you, while she's like, got the gun pointed on the girl. The girl has the gun pointed on her. She's like, I just took a pregnancy test, and I swear to God to you, I am pregnant, and I am not going to assassinate the person that I came here to kill, because the reason why this is happening is she came there to kill somebody, but that person sent their assassin to kill her before she could, like that type of thing. Yeah. So she's like, I will go. I'm going to run away. I'm never going to come after that person again. I just want to take my baby and live my life away from all of this. And she's like, how do I fucking know that you're pregnant? How do I know you're not lying to me right now? She's like, the test is literally right by your feet. I'm not trying to play games with you. I'm not trying to like fuck you over. And she's like literally in tears. Like she's fucking crying on her knees with the gun pointed at the girl. She's behind it. So like the way the scene is set up, the girl's standing in like the doorway of the room. And this is a hotel. And Beatrice is kneeling behind the bed. So she's like she's behind the bed on her knees with the gun pointed. So she has her arms rested on the bed, right? With the gun aimed up at the other girl. And the girl has the shotgun pointed at her, but she's standing up. And so she's like, listen, right by your foot is a fucking pregnancy test. You can see the result. It's right there. Like if you just look down, obviously looking away for a second could be the end of your life. So she's like, I swear to you, I'm not trying to fuck you. So the girl like kneels down real slowly with the shotgun still pointed at Beatrice. Like she kneels down, she grabs the pregnancy test, and she never takes her eyes off of Beatrice. She's reaching around for it with her hands. She's trying to like find. She refused to take her eyes off her for a fucking second. So it's a very, very tense scene because you as a viewer technically don't know if she's telling the truth or not either.
Yeah.
So the girl's feeling around with the shotgun aimed. She's feeling around. She finally, they show her hand, grab the pregnancy test. She pulls it up to her face and she's like shaking, but like she's shaking bad because this is a life or death situation, right? So she's shaking bad. She's like trying to pull the test up to her face to see it in her peripheral without having to look at it directly and take her eyes off. So she finally gets it up and she's like, how do I know what the fuck this means? I don't know what this means. And she's like, the box is right next to it. The box is right next to it. So then she grabs the box now and she looks at it and it's kind of comedic at this point because she's like, I don't know what the fuck this means. And she's like, the box that tells you what exactly is going on is right next to it. So she grabs the box. I will
say, as a side note, these fucking like pregnancy tests and COVID tests, they need to just adopt a Y and like yes and no. Like,
yes. I agree.
Like if there's 2 lines and there's a third line, and if there's no line, if there's 1 line, it's like, bro, just a Y and an N.
Yes.
Just a Y and an N.
I agree with you 100%, King. So she's feeling around and she ends up seeing the box. She finds out that she's telling the truth. So what ends up happening eventually is the girl backs out of the room. She closes the door, and the same hole that she shot through, because the way this whole scene happened is Beatrice went to answer the door and she drops the pregnancy test. And the second she drops it, the fucking shotgun blasts through the door. So she was going to die if this little girl didn't save her life. Like she ends up having a daughter. But if the little girl didn't save her life, basically, she was going to put her head up against the peephole and die. Because that's exactly how it was going to go down. So the way Quentin Tarantino's a genius. The way the scene is framed, like the door, somebody knocks on the door, room service. And she's like, oh, 1 second. And she's like, she walks up to the door and she drops the test. And when she drops it, it's like, boom! And it just blasts through the door. And the girl kicks in and they have a little fight type situation where she's like, listen, I'm pregnant. I'm not even fucking with you. I'm straight up pregnant. And okay, so she backs out, she closed the door, and through the hole, the girl who came to assassinate Beatrice, she looks through it and she says, congratulations. And she like runs away. And it's a pretty dope scene. But anyway, you find out that the reason why the main character wants revenge on her husband is because the way the second movie opens up is at a wedding, and it's Beatrice getting married to some random guy in El Paso, Texas, and everything is filmed in black and white. Like the whole scene, everything about it is black and white. And as the people are there for this wedding, she's super pregnant. Like Beatrice is super fucking pregnant. Like her stomach is out to here. And these 4 or 5 people walk in with ARs, like assault rifles, and they shoot and kill every single fucking person at this wedding, right? And after they kill everybody, Beatrice is the only one left. And they showed them brutally beating her ass. Like they literally showed them punching her, kicking her, all types of shit, right? Passing her around. And mind you, it's like 4 women and a man. So they're kicking her ass. And eventually Bill, like the actual boss, her husband, walks in. After all of this has happened, he walks in, he sees her on the ground. She's bloodied up real bad, like fucked up. She has black eyes, teeth missing. I mean, they fucked her up bad. Bloody dress and everything like that, even though it's all in black and white. And he stands over top of her. He pulls out a revolver and she says, Bill, it's your baby. And he fires the shot and the screen goes black. Okay. So it's really crazy because he doesn't know that the baby that she has when she ran away from her assassin job was actually he doesn't know that the baby is his until she says it. So when he fires the shot, she gets the words out at that very moment, and he intended to kill her, but what ends up happening is she does not end up dying, and instead she ends up going into a coma for several years, like several years. She's in a coma. When she finally comes to, she still remembers all of her training and like all the stuff that she used to do as an assassin. And her one goal, her one mission is to find him and kill him because she doesn't know that her daughter's alive either. So it's like a whole thing to it where she thinks that, oh, you shot me and my kid probably died in my stomach that day. So she doesn't know that her daughter's still alive, but she goes on this whole thing for 2 movies where she's killing everybody. And it is one of the best revenge stories to me because it's like, it's very brutal, it's very gory, it's very Quentin Tarantino, but it's a revenge tour movie. Like both movies are just a revenge tour. And I'm not even going to say what happens in the end because it's actually so fucking good. But yes, Kill Bill is just a really good revenge story. And she doesn't stop for anything. There's one in the first, I think you saw this maybe in the first movie. I'm not sure if it's in the first or the second one, but she ends up fighting against Vivica A. Fox, who is another one of the assassins. And Vivica A. Fox is also done with the assassination life, and she has a daughter. So when Beatrice pulls up to her house, they start fighting, and you don't know that Vivica A. Fox has a daughter either, but as they're fighting, and they're fucked up, mind you, like Beatrice and Vivica, they're bloody, again, black eyes, they fucked each other up bad. As they're fighting, they get to a point where they're both like across the room from each other, catching their breath, and a school bus pulls up. Vivica looks out the window that's actually shattered, right? Like the front window of her house is shattered. She looks out the window, she sees a school bus pull up, and she's like, she stares at Beatrice in this way to say, please God, don't do this right now, right? Like, please don't do this right now. And when the little girl walks in, Vivica and Beatrice both stand up and they pretend like nothing is happening, even though it's really funny because when the little girl looks around the house, the TV's broke, the couches have fucking gunshots in them, everything, the bookshelf is like destroyed all over the floor, the books are all spread out, pages ripped up, everything. The house looks like a fucking tornado ran through it, okay? And both of them are bloodied up. So they're like, hey baby, like Vivica's like, hey baby, how was school? And the little girl doesn't say a single thing. She just looks at the woman who's standing opposed to her mom, and she's like clearly very scared, right? And she's like, did you have a good day at school? Why don't you go up to your room? Mommy will be with you in a second. This is my friend Beatrice. She came to visit me. And so the little girl leaves. She like walks up the steps or whatever. And Vivica's like, listen, me and you can finish this at another time. I just really don't want to do this right now. She's like, I just really don't want to do this right now. And it gets to a point where they act like they're going to have a kind of a truce. But what ends up really happening is they go into the kitchen and she's like, you want some coffee or whatever like that? And they're like not cooking for each other, but she's like making her a drink. And as she goes to grab the coffee, Vivica A. Fox pulls a fast one. Vivica A. Fox pulls a fast one and she tries to pull out a gun and shoot Beatrice, but she misses. and Beatrice shoots her back and kills, or no, she takes a knife and I think she throws the knife at her and hits her right in the chest, like right in the heart. So it's basically like she had the drop on Beatrice. She shot, but she missed because she's out of practice. She hasn't been an assassin it's been like over 5 years, I want to say. But she shoots and she misses. And then Beatrice happens to be standing by the knives in the kitchen. So she pulls one and throws that shit instantly. And it fucking hits Vivica in the heart, kills her. And then her daughter walks in while she's cleaning the knife. And she says, listen, kid. She says, listen, if you feel froggy about this at any point in your life, if you ever feel like you want revenge, she says, if you ever feel froggy about this and you feel like you want to exact your revenge, why don't you find me and we can settle this? And she like walks out. She's like the little girl's just standing there staring at her. And that's kind of like that's the first kill, I think, or like one of the first kills. And then she ends up killing a bunch of other people throughout the movie, and all of them are really epic, I think. Like, I think the Vivica A. Fox fight is, the choreography for that fight is insane. But yeah, the whole idea of Kill Bill is a revenge tour. She goes around literally killing everybody who was involved in beating her ass that day. And she knows all of them because they're all like a family of assassins. So she knows every single one of them. But yeah, without giving away the ending and without giving away too much outside of that, it is one of the best revenge stories ever, and I highly recommend that everyone watch it. In fact, we could do a whole podcast episode on Kill Bill. I think it is.
If we do, we should have Cheyenne on, because no one's has a bigger boner for Quentin Tarantino than him.
It's me and him. I love Quentin Tarantino. So
he's fucking.
All right. Well, I'm down for that. We could set that up for May if you want. We could definitely do, like, I'll rewatch it, you'll watch it, and I think it'll be really, really fun to do Kill Bill. It's a really, really good series, actually. All right. So I want to talk about revenge that's not done well. And revenge that's not done well is Sasuke and Itachi. So everyone who's seen Naruto knows that essentially Sasuke believed that his brother Itachi murdered their whole family, basically because he's a criminal and evil, and he doesn't, at the time he's a kid, so he doesn't completely get like why it had to happen. And in the original series, they don't tell you anything about why it happened either. You just know that Itachi killed his entire family and left Sasuke alive. Well, Sasuke's whole reason for living is that he wants revenge for this one man. He says it several times in Naruto, literally season 1 of Naruto. Like, he says, I exist to kill one man, and they like show his Itachi in shadows and stuff like that. So, okay, you have this main character who's all about revenge. His whole thing, the reason why he's the best fighter in the whole like school and stuff like that, he's like one of the best kids and all that, is because he wants to kill his older brother. And you go through the entire series of Naruto before Shippuden, where Sasuke's goal is to get more power from Orochimaru, from wherever he can get it from. He wants more power so he can kill his brother. That's like his entire reason for existing. And it causes him and Naruto to fight. It's the reason why they fight the Valley at the end the first time, is because he wants revenge on his brother so bad that he's willing to hurt Naruto and do whatever he has to do to get more power, to go to Orochimaru, who Naruto doesn't want him to go to. The whole thing. So the whole story of part 1 is essentially centered around Sasuke. Like, there's a Sasuke retrieval arc and everything. And if you really think about part 1 of Naruto, it is actually Sasuke's story really being told more than it is Naruto's. So in part 2, after they fail to retrieve Sasuke, in part 2, Kishimoto just completely rewrites Itachi's character. So Itachi goes from being an evil, like, villain type of dude to apparently a hero of Konoha, which I do not buy that. I do not buy that was the original intent for Itachi. Like, I just do not buy that.
I kind of agree. It's weird. Obviously, it's hard to tell, right? What was in his head? Maybe he was always planning the twist, right?
There's an argument for both sides.
But I think that it was just done so sloppily and weirdly, because it just feels like it really falls apart and it just loses its legs in a lot of ways. Because the entire first 200 chapters is based on this premise, and I just really feel like it loses its legs. Like, it just kind of stumbles a lot and doesn't really feel all that thought out and planned. And then, I don't know, it just...
Yeah, I think that them retconning, because I do think it's retcon, because a lot of things in Shippuden retcon things that happened in original Naruto. I do think that they retconned Itachi's entire character, really. Or not entire character, but a big chunk of his character. Yeah,
that's what I think. I was trying to find the words for it, but I like, in talking, I forgot it. I personally think through part 1, Itachi became so popular because, like, he just became, he was just like the most popular thing ever. Like, everybody just fucking loved Itachi.
Yep.
And I think basically what happened was Kishimoto or Shonen Jump, whoever, saw the popularity of Itachi, and it was deemed like, I have to do more with his character, and I can't just make him like this one-note bad guy. And so they decided to flesh him out more, in quotes, and it kind of led to this weird retcon rewrite of his history,
where he had to kill his clan, because if he didn't kill his clan, there was going to be, basically they were going to attack the village. They were going to attack Konoha, and they were all going to die anyway. So it's best that we don't cause a war, because I can save Sasuke if I just kill all of you guys. But if you guys attack Konoha as a whole, you'll be put down. Sasuke will also be killed in this, because everyone, like at that point, all of the Uchihas will be wiped off of the face of the planet. So there was like a whole coup being planned by Itachi's father and stuff like that. And they were going to overthrow Konoha, and all this other wild shit was going to happen. And Itachi was like, oh, I have to like choose between my own family and my village. And he chose the village overall, and his little brother, basically, because he could say, he's like, I'll do this if you don't harm Sasuke. And if you ever harm Sasuke, I will come back and I will personally kill you. And he's one of the strongest ninjas ever. Anbu at like 8, I think. Anbu at a really young age. Not even Anbu. I think he was like Anbu. Then he became the captain of Anbu at like 11 or some wild shit. Like Itachi has some insane feats. Anyway, not the point. The point is that Sasuke was all about revenge. And by the time he finally gets to fight Itachi in Shippuden, one, the fight isn't even good. If I'm being completely objective here, and I love Sasuke and I love Itachi, but that fight is just not very well done. It's just not. In the anime, it's way too short, and it kind of escalates too quick where they both are out of chakra, and then Itachi has this weird thing going on where he's blind and he's also sick. So then it's like, you've been waiting to see this character go the fuck off all this time, and then he's sick and blind. It's like, that hurts, but
what's frustrating is that part of Naruto's like, okay, Naruto builds to Naruto versus Sasuke, and then there's like the idea of like, we need to see this again, right? Naruto needs to end essentially with another Naruto versus Sasuke, but then the other big thing that was building toward, among other things, was like Sasuke versus Itachi.
Yes,
like
literally the second biggest thing in the entire series.
Yeah, Sasuke versus Itachi was like what the series was building toward. So when it got there, it definitely did not feel like this crescendo high note that like it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I was not a fan. I was really, really not a fan of what it ended up actually being. The whole premise of Itachi's character and like Sasuke and the revenge, it just did not live up to that hype. It did not live up to the hype that they built on. And also seeing Itachi have all these ailments when it finally came time to show off, it was kind of corny. The only thing good that came out of that fight was obviously Susanoo was revealed in that fight, and that was pretty cool. But like, even then, he was so sick that when he coughed out blood, the Susanoo reverted back to like the skeletal form and all that. It was just a rant.
The other thing is that like the resolution of it was kind of whack, because like, okay, Itachi's dead, that revenge arc is done. Supposedly, but then like, you know, Sasuke learns, you know, the plot twist about his brother, and
right?
So like,
Obito tells him straight up, like, your brother, if he wanted to kill you, he could have.
And then like Sasuke's character becomes like, okay, well, so far I've only been written as like a revenge one note character, so now I have to like take now I have to
get revenge on the village.
He has to stay a revenge character and like just point his revenge somewhere else, and it just like, I don't know, it just feels kind of weightless.
It really does. After Sasuke and Itachi fight, Sasuke's character goes to shit hard, in my opinion. I do not like what at the Hokage summit where he attacks the 5 Kages. That doesn't even make sense. Sasuke is considered one of the smartest people in the entire series. It's like Kakashi, Shikamaru, Sasuke, obviously Shikamaru's father. Like, these are considered IQ wise, and if you look at the data books and everything, Sasuke is considered one of the smartest people in the entire series. He's highly intelligent. Also Itachi, obviously. What he did with the Hokage summit was dumb. Like, I get that you want revenge.
I mean, you know, we all see it, but like, Sasuke's strong, but there's no reason why he lives that either.
Like that was bad too.
There's no reason he lives.
Yeah, bro, it's bad. Honestly, the entire revenge of Sasuke is just done terribly, and I felt like it would be disingenuous to not bring that up on this episode, because we're talking about revenge, and it is one of the biggest revenge stories in all things fantasy and fun, but it is just really, really bad at the end of it. Like, the resolution to Kill Bill, the resolution of 91 Days is actually thought-provoking and really good. There's nothing to really think about with Sasuke's revenge when it at the end of it. Like, it's just bad. And even he realizes before Boruto that his revenge is bad, and he gives up on it at the end. It's just so bad.
There's nothing to talk about at the resolution of his revenge, whereas in 91 Days there is a conversation at the end that's interesting to talk. Like, there's just an interesting thing to talk about at the end of it that you can have a conversation about. I want to ask if you want to get ready to, like, you know, head toward the end here, but I wanted to ask you know, I think you liked it, but I wanted to, it's just, I guess, your overall, like, thoughts, like, review of it, like, not like a whole in-depth thing, but
91 Days.
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought it was fine. It's not my type of anime, and the reason being is that I think that the anime is very confusing. I do not think that people will enjoy it because it's very hard to follow. There are
Mm,
way too many names that you have to try to understand who's who and what family, and they kind of speak to you as though you already know everybody. And I
mm,
hate that. There's not really there aren't really introductions for the characters. They're just like, this guy walks in, he's from this family, and then he's beefing with this other family, but you don't even know who the other family is. You don't know what they
yeah.
look like. They just kind of bring up like, oh, this is the Orcos people, and these are the Venettis, and these are the Glacius, and these are the and it's very, very confusing. I think that I ended up having to turn it to dub instead of subbed because I got tired of trying to read the subtitles and then also understand who the fuck they're talking about and who's who and stuff. So I ended up watching it in dub after like 3 episodes, which was unpleasant because the voice acting was just way better. And honestly, it was a little cringe in dub, but like literally all of the different names and how they all speak and refer to each other was just getting on my goddamn nerves. It reminded me of watching a Gundam or mech anime. In Gundam and mech animes, one of my biggest gripes is that all of the crazy technology that they have in those worlds, they kind of speak as though you know what the fuck they're talking about. So you have to take a lot of time to understand what they're even talking about when they mention certain mechs and certain like colonies and certain technology. You have no idea what's going on. You're new to this story. And a lot of times they do this pretentious thing where they don't introduce things. They don't kind of give you a chance to really absorb what things are called. They just start referring to them as that. And the characters will have these elaborate conversations where you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, who are they talking about? What are they talking about? That's how I felt watching 91 Days. I felt like the story is extremely convoluted and hard to follow. And I don't think it has to be because we've seen other like gangster or like mob type things, even a Dark Knight with the Joker and him, you know, with all the mob boss and stuff like that. I think it's a lot easier to follow. So I didn't enjoy it from that perspective, but I do like the overall like revenge story and stuff, like the slow the slow revenge, the slow burn of that. I thought that was really well done. But as far as the storytelling of it all and how easy it is to understand and how easy it is to follow, I feel like the story is a little bit too convoluted. It's not something that I would watch again, is how I see it. Like I wouldn't recommend it and I would not watch it again, is how I feel about 91 Days.
Interesting. Yeah. I
Like
as
I struggled to get through it.
as people know, I obviously did like love it. I watched it, I think I've seen it 3 times, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Mm.
And yeah, I was really into it. There's a lot about it that I enjoyed about the characters, and some of your gripes with it are like things that I like about it. So but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about this too. So South Park has what I would consider like funny revenge. So there's everyone knows Cartman. Cartman's insane. And there's this one episode. I think everyone knows this episode. This episode was huge. Like before social media was really big, this episode is what I would call trending because it was everywhere. But there was one where this kid, this upperclassman, tricked Cartman into eating his pubes. Like he literally, I forget exactly what he did, but I think he told him that if you want hair on your chest or something like that, you have to eat my pubes or eat pubes or something weird. And so Cartman believes him, obviously, and he ends up ingesting this kid's pubes, this upperclassman's. And eventually Cartman finds out that that shit is just not true. And naturally, that enrages him, but he takes it to a level that I don't think anyone watching this show ever could have dreamed of. So you see, after this happens and Cartman finds out what really went down, you see Cartman trying to have a horse bite a hot dog off of a human doll's like body, right? Like basically bite somebody's dick off. You see him trying to train a horse to do that. So he's like, the horse instead is just eating the hot dog, I think, or like just sucking it in a weird way because it's South Park and it's fucking strange. But the horse is not doing what he wants. He wants it to literally rip it off and like eat it or whatever. And at that time, it's like, holy shit, he's trying to get this horse to like eat this kid's dick off. And that's already wild enough. But what ends up actually happening is Cartman ends up murdering this kid's family, his mom and dad. He ends up murdering them. And he ends up feeding the upperclassman's family to him in a bowl of chili. And the kid doesn't know that like his family's in this chili at the time. So he starts eating it. And the Cartman's like, oh, yes, the tears of a broken child. Like, you're eating it. It's so good, isn't it? He's like, what? Like, why are you so big on me eating this chili or whatever. And he's like, well, your family is actually, your mom and dad, they've been missing for a while and they're actually cooked into this chili. And the kid like loses his shit. He's crying really bad. And Cartman comes up to him. And I think he literally licks the tears off his face. And then the episode just kind of ends with Cartman smiling or whatever. It's insane. It's a fucking insane thing. But it's revenge over him eating the kid's pubes. And obviously this is extreme and it's South Park and it's over the top. But it is, I'll never forget that. Like that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in anything fantasy and fun. And yeah, Cartman feeding someone's family to them in a bowl of chili because he ended up eating someone's pubes is downright diabolical, and absolutely insane. So that was kind of my last one. If you have a revenge story or like something, some kind of fantasy or fiction story that you are into, that's a really big revenge one that you want to, write into IMNerdpodcast@gmail.com. We'll talk about it on the show. Maybe we've seen it already. Maybe we've heard about it. Maybe we've read it. But yeah, I love revenge as a concept when it's done well. And I think 91 Days does do it well if they just simplified a lot of the characters and like all of the families, all of the names, all of the who they're talking about, these weird plots going on and stuff like that. I think if they simplified it, it would be really well done. But I think if you just stick to Nero and the main character Angelo, for the most part, like it is pretty enjoyable.
Yeah. I like obviously Nero and Angelo are like the heart of the show. And then like there's other things like Corteo like kind of pulls on your heartstrings a bit for like his innocence and what ends up happening to him. But yeah, the families and all the different names and shit. I get all into all that stuff and I find that interesting. And I do in general, I guess it depends, but in general, I do like that kind of delivery where like they kind of just talk about things and expect you to just they just kind of do it without feeling like they need to explain everything to you, and then like you just kind of get immersed in it. I end up favoring when stories or whatever do stuff like that.
Yeah, I think there's a right way to do it, a wrong way to do it. I think that this one just did it not in a good way. Personally, I think because like Death Note is way more of a complicated story.
Well, I mean that's fine. We're just not friends anymore.
Oh Jesus Christ. Well, I guess this is the last episode of the I Am Nerd podcast. We disagree on the way 91 Days delivered this story, so I guess we're done here. Kenny's Italian, so if I end up dying in the next like 2 weeks or whatever, just know.
Listen, all I'm saying is don't none of y'all eat lasagna or chili.
Yes. If we come to your housewarming and lasagna is being served, I'm 100% not touching that shit. Like if lasagna is being served at the housewarming, I am so good on that. But yeah, I don't by no means do I think that this is a bad story. It's just that I was a little confused. And that like that doesn't typically happen to me. But it tends to happen to me on mech things. So when it happened on this one, I was like, why am I having a hard time understanding like who's whose son? Who's the boss of like I don't know. Maybe when I watch it again, it'll be more clear to me because I know, right, going into it who everybody is. But when I was first watching it, I was like, so the one guy I just call him Serpent, but like who exactly is this guy? Serpent, but like for some reason in the dub version they just called him Serpent, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. It was a rant because the Japanese clearly just said it the correct way. But yeah, by no means, I think that it's. I 100% think that like it is worth watching if you want to see a good revenge story. I'll kind of leave it at that. I do want to get to the wrapping up and just kind of reading off our Patreon people real quick. So thank you guys for supporting the podcast. We will be recording the Patreon exclusive monthly episode for April 2023. Have no idea what the topic is going to be yet. So we have the podcast suggestions channel in our Discord server, and going to look through that to see if there's anything already in there that seems really interesting that we could do. If not, then I ask that you help us choose a topic by recommending something. And but for the people who are already subscribed to us on Patreon, as always, we really appreciate you. And I want to give a shout out to Connie, Austin, Leon. Let me scroll down. Okay, then we have Rogue and Tier 2 aren't bad. They just aren't great. Garen Williams, Xavier Swift, Hylian, Dimitri Barnes. So long, Gabe Bowser. That was formerly Vinny Casello. So now his name is So Long, Gabe Bowser. And he actually spelled gay in a funny way. So that way I think he doesn't get banned or kicked from Patreon. Dimitri Barnes, So Long, Gabe Bowser, Dominique Roberts, Giovanni Avalos, Alex Flamer, Henry Reynolds, CJ, Dub K Dad 1, Dan Vrabel, First Home, Dalis Fernaris, S. Adakuma, Mitchell Niles, Midwest Gaming, William Shapiro, Demetrius Safirdas, Vince Marquette, Dallas Bailey, Roz Weiss, Nick Stango, Hansel, our two-time national champion, Vincent Zen, Sarah Maria, Sunny Top Cut Podcast, Alex Ahern, Philip Campa, Arale Melfi Slump, Chris Lynn, Wookie 159, MSW 2389, Edison Club, Kyle Batelho, Brandon Moore, Sugal, Nick, Mr. Soltai, Nafa, Corey Fowler, Omar Ramos, Elijah Barfault,
A True Hero, Tyler Tadeo, Majora X, Anthony, Matt Glenny, Rogue, and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck. Jake LT and Duty a Booty.
Duty, rocking everywhere. Booty, rocking everywhere. Duty, booty, 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 booty. Okay, I'm done. I couldn't help it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to control myself when we get to Duty Booty is such a good fucking name, man. Duty, booty rocking everywhere. All right, I'm done. I'm done. I swear I'm done. Anyway,
the Patreon exclusive episodes on Bubba Sparks, apparently.
Yeah, clearly. Bubba Sparks, if you know, you know. But yeah, we're getting the hell out of here. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We will catch you in the next one. Peace. And as I always say, do the things that make you happy, including do the booty rocking everywhere. Rocking everywhere. Rocking everywhere. I'm done. Thank you.